Hello and welcome to DLS Wave, a brand new YouTube channel that promises to bring you interesting and topical discussions on happenings around the world. Join this family, subscribe to the channel, and when you do, don't forget to hit the notification bell so when we upload a new video, you're notified as one of the first. Without wasting much time, let's go on and introduce ourselves, and then we can kickstart this channel with our first major topic. So to my right,
I'm Steve. The
Shatta.
S in the letter.
Right,
Donald, aka Tobacco.
Yeah.
Tobacco.
right, and you can call me Leo. All right, so without wasting time, let's move straight to D to give us an introduction of our topic for today's discussion.
Okay, topic number 1, episode 1 of our new show on YouTube, Mr. S.
Yes.
The decision to move to China. What impacted that decision? Was it due to stress at home, lack of opportunities, trying to make something for yourself? Why move to China?
All in one, all the things you've listed. I think the core principle or the core reason behind me leaving was to make a better life for myself and then my kids. You know, so everybody and the reason they travel. So my main reason is the country was in a mess. I could not see the way forward from my life, and that was the main reason.
Right.
That was the main reason. I don't know about you, but Mr. L.
Well, for me, the decision to move to China was it wasn't something that I planned. It just happened. So I had a friend who we did national service together. For those who don't know national service, it's kind of like after your tertiary institution, you have to serve your country for a year. So during the national service, long story short, I met a friend who, during the national service, after national service traveled to China, and I didn't even know he had moved. So after a while, I got in contact with him again, and he said, "Hey, I'm in China, and there's a job opportunity here. Do you want to try?" So, long story short, within a space of 2-3 weeks, I found myself in China, and I was
Nice.
well. We'll come to that, but I was shocked, and it's been so many years.
So your main
counting.
reason for traveling was not really
Well, it wasn't really economic or anything, because I would say that although I didn't have a job after my national service, it wasn't the case where I had a reason I had to leave.
There was no pressure.
There was
right?
no
Like
pressure to
external
leave. I left. There was no plan. Even if it was something that I wanted to do to travel out, it was not an immediate plan. So it just happened, and then I had to leave.
pressure. Okay.
all right. I don't know about you out there, but you can leave your comment in there and then
Comment
tell
section.
us and tell us why you also left your country. And I don't know about you.
Yes, similar, same thing. For me, it's a lack of opportunities, right? I finished school, I had a job, but the job was
Wasn't
not
paid.
exactly the money you're making is not something you can really kind of rely on
Live a
every
life,
month.
yeah.
You have your mom to take care of, your dad to take care of, you're thinking about a wife, you're thinking about renting or ideally buying your own place, right? And if you look at all these things and you look at the job you have currently,
Yeah.
you will spend an entire
Damn.
lifetime and you will still not be able to get to where you want to.
It's always about lack of opportunity.
Yeah. So how long ago are we talking about moving to China? How long ago?
We are talking about 13 to 14
14
years.
years. Okay. So you said the country was in a mess back then.
If I say the country was in a mess, I'm in my life frame.
So can you say your life was in a mess or your country was
My
in a
life
mess?
was not in a mess. I'll pick what you just said. You were working, but you it's next to nothing.
Yeah.
Before your salary arrives, you owe a lot of people.
Okay.
It's like
So
your
it's
effort
like
is not commensurate.
you keep
with
going in circles.
your-
Yeah, you keep going in circles. So with that reason, I was like, and secondly, sometimes you do worry about what people say.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes you do worry, and you look around and you see a couple of friends being
Doing
successful.
well.
They are
Yeah.
doing well, quote unquote, you know, and you cannot find your feet. So I was like, okay, it would be best if I travel somewhere, and even if I'm struggling somewhere, nobody sees my hustle.
Okay.
Right. Right.
That's
You
an
understand?
interesting thing to say.
Yeah, and like you said, I spoke. My cousin was already here
Okay.
for some
In
years,
China.
so yeah, I spoke with him. I was like, listen. Then I was like, I've been waiting for this for a long time. You need to get out. So, yeah, that was the main reason.
All right, El.
Right. So, what was the question again?
13 years.
Yeah.
That was 13
Oh,
years
yeah,
ago.
the
okay.
years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
for me, it's 15 years flat this year. I've been here. First time I came was 15 years ago, but I went out of China for 2 years to study and then returned. So, like continuous living is like 13 years, but the first time I got to China was 15 years ago.
Yeah, similarly, 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
But the question I keep asking myself based on what you just said is it because as an individual, right, you're not equipped with the skill set, your education level was not that high. Because people will say, okay, they were equally like, same age level your peers, they're still in the country, right? And they're
Yeah.
making it.
Right.
So why were you not making it? Why are we always blaming the government or external factors?
I will explain it this way. It was an individual thing, and that is all life is about.
Okay.
You have to look at you. You understand? Secondly, the truth is, yes, there were jobs in the country, but there were jobs where 150 of you apply with the same certificate or even higher,
Right.
and only 2 or 3 people will be
be hired,
taken.
yeah.
So about 96 people, what do they do?
Right.
You understand? So
Right.
if you've been able to acquire or generate some income somewhere, and you do your plus and minuses, and you feel like, okay, if I go to this country or if I travel to this country, I can manage. I'll start life. I'll hustle. I'll do anything. I'll clean the floor. I'll sleep on the floor. You are ready to make that dream come true. Which, if you are in your country, the truth is it will be hard.
Those opportunities are not very
Because
available.
how many people work 3-4 jobs in Ghana? Yeah, I'm from Ghana. How many people work 3-4 jobs?
No, is it because the jobs are not there,
Because
or
the
is
jobs
it
are not
because people
there.
don't want
No,
to?
because the jobs are there. No, the jobs are not there to the number of people looking for jobs.
Okay.
Comparing the people looking for jobs and people coming out of the university each and every year, the jobs are not enough.
Right.
You know. So there is always a pile up.
Right. That takes me to another. If I can digress a little bit,
Yeah.
what do we think is the cause of this case of situation of joblessness? Personally, my personal take on this is, I feel like some of our governments, especially African governments, have the direction of education wrong. Why am I saying this?
I
I
agree.
mean, you look at many countries that have made it or advanced now, and if you trace their history of the progress of the development of their education system, there's a strong focus on technical and vocational education.
Thank you.
Builders, plumbers, soft is it soft skills?
skills?
Technical skills.
Technical skills.
Yeah.
But we popularize tertiary education
Yeah.
Blue
more
collar
than any
jobs,
other
right?
thing.
Blue collar jobs.
So if
be
you
a
have,
nurse, be a doctor,
Exactly.
those are the things.
and
know?
these professions can only employ so many people. What
Exactly.
about the rest?
Exactly.
And we tend to forget that to build a country, you need people with skills.
Diverse
Yeah.
background of
Not
skills.
theory, you need a practical aspect. So I think for me, it might not be so that easy to blame it on this reason, but I think that's a major reason that we don't focus on developing technical and vocational skills. We only focus on the theoretical aspect. So we have so many people who know theory, but there's no one to do the practical aspect of it.
To add to it, I look at universities in Ghana. It is just a few, or look through our schools. You don't see any. I don't know about now, but you don't see any from childhood. Even talking about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, exactly.
None.
It's not taught. Everything
None.
is
That
like-
is why we all finish school. And if you really sit, most Ghanaians, we are brilliant people.
yeah.
with brilliant mindset, and not only Ghanaians but Africa in general.
Yeah.
Look at the Nigerians. Look at other countries.
Yeah.
But because our focus is like, go to school, finish school, somebody will employ you. But we never think about
You
who
be
is
the employer.
Yes. Why should somebody employ me instead of me employing myself and employing other people?
Yes.
We never have that thought. And
Exactly.
and yes, you can put it on the government because most of our schools decisions are being made through government,
Right.
or any government that comes to power, and they should see this void,
Yeah.
right? That maybe previous government have created, so they close it. But none of them, because most of them, they leave the country and they go to those other countries,
Yeah.
Developed countries.
and they see how, even with their position,
Yeah.
I know people who have gone and they go and do the cleaning job somewhere
Yeah.
too, to earn some money before they go back to their country
Yeah.
and wear their suits.
Right.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it has to do with mindset.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To me, it has to do with mind, and it's about time we change. Nobody will pick me
Right.
into any position, but hey,
I mean, if you look, just let me say, add something little. If you look at a country like China with a population of, I don't know, 1.3, 1.4
Oh yeah,
billion.
they headed towards 2 billion.
Yeah, I stand to be corrected. But if you have ever been in China, or if you live in China, you know that I can't quote figures now, but with what we see, you don't see people really like jobless, walking about aimlessly. As long as you are healthy, there is something you can do. And that's because the government always tries to provide opportunity. You can be a delivery guy, you can be someone selling.
Oh no, even in
delivery.
retirement,
Exactly.
they still
They
clean the
still work.
community
Yes.
center.
Yeah, look at when you go. I walk every morning.
Yeah.
And I always say those people who do their jobs on the road, they clean the roads and make sure my city is the most cleanest
Clean,
city.
yeah.
Yeah. All those people, they are in their retirement age.
Yeah,
You know, but they are doing that and they are earning money.
exactly.
Where I'm from,
Yeah, and
no grandmother would.
It's not only the money also, it's just for them to remain active.
Yes.
Because the
yes.
moment you stay home, all these illnesses and disease
Right.
starts popping up,
Good.
like your back
Right.
starts hurting, you cannot
But
move.
hey, where
But
we are
every
from,
day, yeah. All right, I don't want us to kind of like divert too much
Yeah.
from the topic for today. These are all like topics we're going to talk about in our next few episodes.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question goes to how did your friends and family react to your decision to leave home? Usually it's to America, to England, to the UK. It's kind of like normal. It's acceptable, right? But if you say you're going to China, everybody goes, "What are you gonna do in China? Like, why are you going to China?" Right? That is the first
That's an
question. that comes to
interesting-
mind.
may so rest in peace. Yeah, my both of them, my dad and my uncle. Yeah. And when I got here, after some few months, I was talking to my dad, and he said, "Oh, when I told your uncle that you've left,
To China.
you've traveled." No, he said you've left. You've gone to abroad. And my uncle was like, "Oh, where in abroad?" And then my dad was like, "China." And then my uncle was like, in my dialect, "China wa blochini." It means that it's China to what do you call
Abroad,
it?
like
Abroad,
overseas, right?
overseas. Or
I mean, literally, it's not a place you go.
Bro,
for,
like
yeah,
to say, yeah, literally to
develop
say,
yourself and then
yeah.
bring your passion.
If you want to travel, why are you going to China? What are you going to do there?
It's like saying, to him, it's like saying, I'm going to Togo, with no disrespect to Togo, but
Yeah.
I mean, Togo and Ghana are the same. So
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
going
it's
to
like-
Togo, it's not overseas.
It's like, what do you mean? You know? And my dad was like, I showed him some pictures, like, "Oh, is that really China?" He said, "Are you sure it's in China or not any other country?" My dad said, "Yeah, China." That was it. At the end of the day, I told my dad, at the end of the day, you have to travel and see.
Yeah.
You know, because growing up, my dad told me a lot about China. I learned a lot about the country China. So he was so proud I came here just for the lessons,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and that is why I tend to not really support, but I try to let people see where these people have come from
And where they are.
and where they
currently,
are.
yeah.
Right.
You can envy,
Right.
but you have to appreciate the fact that they've been bold.
Yeah.
You know, so hey, that's my
Right.
China too is a
How
country.
about how about the in your case, how did your family react?
Oh, for me, it was more like it was your decision. If you want to do it, just do it.
Do it, yeah.
But I had like family like in the US, and when they were all like, "Why don't you come to the States? Why are you going to China? Right? What's in China for you?" But like you have to be here
Yeah,
to
to
experience it, to understand it.
Yeah.
There are things in life that cannot be really explained to you. You need to experience it. Because
Right.
I mean, sometimes we cannot really blame them, right? Because growing up, we all knew like Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, it's all like kung fu.
I was
Yeah.
prepared to fight.
Exactly.
Journey
so
to the
that's what
West.
you hear. You think you come to China, everybody's like, wearing
Wear-
this like kung fu clothing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not like that. It's so
Right.
modernized. It's so like metropolitan. It's like, it's nothing like you would even imagine.
And this
Right?
was
Of course, they have their problems, right? Just like
Yeah.
any other country. But like you said, you have to respect them for it. You have to admire it. You have to give them their due because it's like they did it on their own.
Their
These are the
times,
things that you
Yeah.
cannot take away from people.
Right,
They
right.
did it on their own terms at their own time.
right, and it was a big struggle, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my case, just like most of you, I didn't have any resistance. I think when the opportunity came, I told my siblings, and they were all very happy because we are, I mean, young people will
Yeah.
understand. It was just my parents, but when I told my parents, it was just my mom who was saying, as usual from mom, she was
Yeah.
like, "That's too far away, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You don't have any family there." But my dad was like, I was surprised. My dad was like, it
Go
was
for
really
it.
cool.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was leaving, my whole family was at the airport, and that was a big motivation because it made me feel like they had my back
Back, yeah.
for everyone coming to see me. So I didn't face any resistance when I was.
Yeah, I think it's one of the
Yeah,
things
yes.
that sometimes helps you to make it or kind of like break you because if you get a support or backing from your family,
Yeah.
it's a big booster,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Especially dads, right? They're kind of proud, like, okay, at least my boy is doing something.
Yeah, he's going on
Yeah,
his
he's
own.
making his own decisions.
None of my family actually questioned why are you going, blah blah. They were
Right.
like, I remember the messages individually, but they are like, everywhere you go, make sure you shine.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you take the opportunities and move
Right.
and keep moving. Not leave, but like keep doing the best you can.
You
be.
can to
You know, my
succeed.
dad was like, my son, it's okay, you go. You know.
Yeah.
None. My uncle was the one who bought my ticket for me. Like people were just get out of this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you cry. You
So
are.
it even wherever you are, you have the confidence.
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
There's nothing to
Yeah.
worry about from back
Yeah.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So next thing goes to culture shock. Of course, I mean, like I said, this is not America, it's not UK.
That's a big one.
In those places, they have like, African communities, Ghanaian community, you can get some Ghanaian food, you can get some local African cuisines, right? But in China, now maybe it's a little better now, but back then, 10, 13 years ago, there was not a big of like, an African influence or African community or whatnot. So it was difficult to come by our foods, our people. So what was the first culture shock? What did you see and you're like, whoa, this is not good?
For me, I would say it was the two things. One was the food, and the second was the people. Because I was back home in Ghana, I was used to working with people. After my tertiary schooling, I was fortunate to work at a place where I worked with a Dutch priest who had many people coming from Europe, from everywhere.
Yeah.
And even in my high school, we sometimes had teachers from. I remember our math teacher was from Indonesia because it was a mission school. So we had priests and brothers coming from different parts of the world to teach sometimes. So I was already familiar with meeting foreigners and all that. So it wasn't really a thing. It was just when I got here, I realized that the sort of foreigners that I used to mingle with this was a different kind of foreigners.
Yeah.
It was the case where I just immediately realized that people in China, at least at the time, were not used to seeing foreigners, especially black people, and especially someone coming from Africa. So apart from the fact that sometimes someone will see you and scream or
Personally.
pass
Yeah, but
away.
I think you could say the same thing in reverse, right? That back in Ghana,
Back-
we
yeah.
were not
When we're
used to
young,
seeing
yeah,
Asians and
yeah,
Chinese as
yeah.
much as Europeans.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was one shock that I expected to have the same kind of mingling with the foreign community that I was in now, but I realized that it was different. I mean, people wouldn't even want to get close to you at the time, or those who were bold enough would get close, but they just want to see how different you are. So that was strange.
Now, was there a reason to that?
I think it was
Was
just
it because of the information they were getting here?
It's the information that for I agree with you, exactly my thing. Like, but I was so open-minded. Probably I didn't really understand the language.
Yeah.
So some of the silly comments some of them will make, I did not understand. But yet they will make that same comment and they will come and take a picture with you. So the shock was when I realized I was that famous.
right.
For my skin color.
Someone once said that he suddenly felt like Michael Jackson.
Yeah. I was about to say the same thing. Like I the moment I was like, no, this is. I think I'm from the family of Bob Marley. Just
but this is what I always say. I always take
Yeah.
two roads, right? I don't really take one narrow road because we could see the same thing in Ghana. Back then in Ghana, when kids see foreigners, kids like to run to the kids, get some candy, take some pictures. So
It still happens.
I have
actually.
pictures, places I've been in China, and that is that shock I'm talking about. And it is, black guy, and then they take pictures.
Yeah.
I have pictures here. I know if 500 years down the line, they will say there was this black guy or there was a black Chinese. It probably be me because you see my pictures.
Right.
I was taking pictures before I started to understand some of the things they were saying. But yet still, I still give people the room. You know, you have to try and change people's perceptions. You know, so that was one shock. The other shock is oh my Lord. The other shock was when I really realized how many these people are. Like, you go where they call People Street, usually Remendo, and you cannot find space to walk.
Especially on holidays.
I'm telling you, you don't dare to travel on holidays.
Nah, not in China, no.
And I was like, no.
This is a multitude.
Yeah.
One time I went back home, the same thing. I was sitting outside. I don't really like to sit on walls outside in Ghana, and I was looking. I'm like, where is everybody? Right? Because it felt so empty. Because in China, you're literally bumping.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Really bumping.
And the second point that I wanted to mention, I think I said two. The second point was the food, because back in Ghana or any African, we have China has a large cuisine depending on where you go, but the staple is rice, which comes with different dishes or noodles depending on where you go. But in Ghana, we have so many different dishes. You have fufu, you have banku, you have kenke, rice, gobe, all these. So you can eat something this morning, in the afternoon, eat something different.
Add the word, ours too is heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Put that one in.
Right.
And that is actually a problem.
Put that one in. because they will take you to a dinner and you see a whole lot of food.
Yeah.
And you will do the drinking and then the gambe and
Before
you get home.
and you're hungry.
You know you've eaten, but before you get home,
You're hungry.
it's like you've not eaten anything.
Yeah. By the way, viewers out there, gambe means
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Right.
Gambe.
So
food was another, and there were some
with you.
spices that I wasn't used to, but over time, obviously, you get used
don't
to them.
even-
Yeah, but I thought you were gonna touch on the rice part. My shock was they did not put salt in the rice.
Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah.
Now I'm used to it, but I hated it back then. It's like it felt so
tasteless.
bland.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was, and it was like I was in the city, Changsha, Hunan, and they are like these sweet fish.
Yeah.
They put sugar in the fish. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah, in
that
Shanghai,
did not make
Shanghai
sense
too.
to me,
Yeah.
right? But now I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how the brain gets. used
I
to
mean, I
things.
can imagine someone cooking in Ghana and adding honey to the food or
honey to
sugar.
food or sugar to
Like
fish.
frying fish or beef, it's unheard of.
Yeah, it's
But you
unheard
get used to it.
But wait till you try it.
Yeah. All right, the conversation is getting interesting, but we have to keep moving on. So, next, have you settled in yet? After 13 years, do you feel like you've settled in? You can say this is my second. Of course, it's not gonna be like your home, but can you say this is my second home away from home?
Sure, but but the thing is with China, yes, you will settle based on two things. If you are married,
Yeah.
you will settle, but there's always that question mark surrounding your settling. You know? And then if you have a work visa and you're working for a company or whatever. So yes, I've settled. I don't run around looking for visas anymore. You know, and that is the most beautiful thing.
Okay.
The day you know that you have maybe 2 years visa or a year visa based on the visa, the type of visa you are on.
Yeah.
You know, you are like, okay, I have 2 years to do this and do that and do that. So
Right.
based on that, I'm settled. Secondly, personally, I'm settled because I have a wife and a daughter.
Family, right?
Right.
So
Most
I have a
important
family.
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm settled.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Settle.
Settled. I think I think I'm settled. But like he said, any foreigner who's been in China knows you can't really be settled in China because there are immigrations like him. I'm also married with kids, so that keeps you grounded. And in terms of documentation and all that, it's not really an issue.
Yeah.
But if you think of it as in settled, then you're not really settled.
Yeah.
And settled, I mean, if you go to some countries, you live there 5 years, 6 years, you get a green card, permanent residence. It's not like that in China.
Yeah.
You can get it, but it's a process.
Yeah.
And you have to belong to a certain category and you need to satisfy some requirements. So it's not that, in terms of that, yes, it can be problematic. And let me just put this out there. Some people, when they hear that you're married to a local, a Chinese, they think that, oh, you already have citizenship now.
No, it doesn't work like
No foreigner earns citizenship in China. You can get permanent residence, but you can't get a Chinese passport. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
So don't come to China thinking, oh, I can get married and get citizenship. No. In China, you don't marry for citizenship. You marry because you really are in love with a person. If it's something we can talk about.
No, but I think with the documentation, I think it's pretty much on a global scale, right? In every country you go, as long as your documentation
It's okay.
Then
processing is done, you're legal, I think you have
peace of mind.
peace of mind to go about your daily stuff and pursue whatever it is you came to pursue.
Yeah.
But if not, then you're always going to be looking over your
It is what it is.
Yes.
And let me just add this one real quick. Some people also think that because China uses a socialist system of government, I'm not trying to go political, but some people think because of that, every aspect of your life is controlled.
No.
You might be surprised to hear that you might be more free here than in any other country.
As long as I'm saying, you need to experience
Exactly.
it to understand.
As long as you don't get in.
Folks now will hear what you're saying, but they will still be down.
People will not.
Exactly.
People
From
will
the
not.
news and all
A lot of people will not get the angle you are coming from, and there are even people here of our people here, and they still don't get that some of the angles.
Yeah, but this is being coming from, like you said, we being Africans that usually we're like at the bottom of the totem pole, right? But you even talk up to people from the States, from Europe, and they tell you the same thing. The expectations when coming to China was like totally blown apart.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they had this whole communist thing, like, people probably lining up for food and everything. They come in
No,
there like,
no,
Right.
don't.
Right.
there is no cops stopping you on the street, there is no show me your ID, nothing of the
Nothing like
sort.
that, yeah.
Nothing. A cop
Even
would
if you
never-
have a problem, unless you go to the police station.
And even nowadays, they don't need to tell you show me your ID. They just take your picture and your details will pop
You
up.
pop up.
Yeah.
So they are way
Yeah.
advanced, and I think
Yeah.
the Western media has this agenda, but
Yeah.
it's political.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we live it like that.
Yeah, and the thing also you said about the citizenship and I don't know, like I always say, everything is kind of like two-sided because I think this is why China is where they are. They keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
You need to be working. They don't want you to be like a liability, right? You go to
Yeah.
Europe, you go to the States, you see all these migrant workers. They come in, right? Now, I mean, you can't really put them all in
One
the same basket.
Yeah.
But some people come in once they get welfare and everything, they just get a little lazy. They stop working. They're not really looking for jobs because they know every month welfare is gonna come in. But there's nothing like that in China. You have to get off your butt every
You
morning
have to work.
work.
I mean, if
You
the
need to be in
citizens
the
are
work.
working, who are you as a
Exactly.
migrant to come and
Migrant to
sit
say
and
you are not
Exactly.
working.
So I think that is one of the things that make China like unique in that
Right.
sense. You can never feel like you're settled. You always got to be on your toes because
Right.
the government needs to see you paying taxes. You're doing everything that their citizens are doing.
Right.
Right.
With our experiences in traveling to China, and what was the question again? Like cultural shock and everything.
Yeah.
If you have one word, for us to be able to wrap up, if you have one word or a sentence or a short whatever to encourage someone to take the next step, what would that be?
Yeah.
I would say
I mean, anybody thinking about coming to China?
Coming to China
Or
and
traveling
traveling
generally,
somewhere
okay.
else.
I think if you're traveling outside your own country, you have to try to get out of your comfort zone and know that you are no more in your and as they say, do as when you go to Rome, do as the Romans do. If they say by law you don't step here, don't step there, it's their law.
Try not to, yeah.
You can't come to someone's country, even in your own country. If you're not a parliamentarian or something, you have no influence in changing any policies.
Yeah.
So you can't suddenly come to someone's country and expect that all the laws should favor you. So you have to travel with an open mind, and also you have to be ready to accept. I mean, you have to do things right from the first day. Don't listen to people. If you have problems and you can trust someone, you ask direction from that person. But if you don't, better go to the right authorities, because I've come to realize that what you do from day one can affect your life throughout your stay. So do your due diligence and always make sure you get the right information. And in short, I would say China is bittersweet, like you said, one statement. China is bittersweet. It can be sweet 2 hours earlier and bitter now. You always have to expect the up and downs. But it's not just China, it's everywhere.
Exactly right.
But you have to be ready.
Yeah, with me, I'm not gonna say it's an advice, but just like caution.
Yeah.
Try to elevate yourself everywhere you go. If you need to study, study. If you need work, find work. If you need somebody to help you do things, try to find somebody you can trust. It doesn't matter if it's a local or if it's your own countryman, right? There are people who bond on different levels. You may be able to bond with a local, right, more than your own countrymates. It doesn't matter, right? And if they can help you to get to where you want to be,
Yeah. Sometimes it's
just roll
your-
with them. Yeah.
It's your kind that brings you down. So
Exactly.
you need
Yeah.
to know
So
who
you
roll
need
with.
to try to elevate yourself. Do not stay where you are. You came with like a PhD. It doesn't matter, right? Because people do things differently. Jobs are looking for different skill sets. So try to do what you need to do to get to where you have to be.
Okay. I will end by saying just be like the chameleon. Any place you get, change your color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leave your entitlement
Adapt,
somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it. Whether you use
Because nobody cares
Ethiopia
about you.
You
Airline
could have been
or
driving an
nobody cares.
S-Class back home. You come here.
Nobody
leave your entitlement somewhere, because here is like a minefield. Everybody's trying to
You
survive.
get dirty, yeah.
Yeah, so just live like a chameleon. When you get to a place and you see everybody's in blue, change to that color. That is the only way I think you can survive. So
Right.
for me, that's my advice. And I think today,
Yep, that should summarize our episode for today.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much for coming along. We really appreciate you sticking through the video. And like we said, this is our very first video. So join the family, help the channel grow. And you can do that by subscribing. Click the red button down there. And when you do, don't forget to click the notification bell so you can be notified each time we upload a video. And don't forget to share the video. And please, the likes are very important to make other people get this video recommended to them. So once again, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again soon. Peace out.
abananye.